Oh, I forgot that I'm the only one with the power to unmute.
I'm sorry.
Look at that. That was well done with the ASL, though. That's impressive.
We taught my daughter a few things, just normal stuff. But I cut the grass after school, so what are you gonna do?
Do you have nice green tennis shoes now?
They were nice and green before, and now they're greener now.
Impressive.
Filled with leaves.
Hi, Eddie.
Hey, Mr. Belmont, how are you, sir?
Okay. I just was on the website and I logged into the meeting via Authenticate, and the meeting's not coming up when I click on the icon. So I'm going to go back and go in through the public, see if that's a better way to do it.
Okay.
You know, Eddie, in the world of technology, you just, I've been following this antitrust stuff. It's been in the news the last few days.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are, but it seems to me we just can't sit back and let technology dictate to us. We still have to exercise common sense.
I believe in it. I don't know. I don't know if that ship has sailed or not, but I certainly believe in it.
I'm so sick. I spent the better part of my time. I'm on music. You want me?
10 more days of Halloween.
Hey, Mike, this is Mike Gigliotti. Mr. Belmont? Yeah, Mike. You can get into the. Yeah. I had a little trouble getting in, but then the meeting started, so you need to make sure you can join the meeting.
Are we in like a waiting room or something right now?
No, sir, Mr. Patterson.
No, in terms of the board docs, Mr. Patterson, we have to be able to authenticate in board docs in order to vote. So I need to
Okay, I'm good.
Join the meeting.
I got in. Very good, thank you.
is there any board member who will not be able to join board docs? Just so Ms. Hawthorne is aware of that.
I'm trying to right now, if you give me a minute.
Very good. If anybody will need to vote by voice, please let us know.
And we do not yet have Miss Lawson, Miss Glass.
Very good. Thank you for that.
Yes, ma'am. Welcome to our newcomers. If you have been in a board meeting before, or even if you haven't been, just a reminder, our policy is to have you rename yourself with first and last name and your affiliation with the district. So please make sure you do that when you come in. If you're having trouble with that at all, just raise your hand or turn on your video and wave at me, and I will be happy to assist.
Here.
Ms. Hawthorne, I'm advised that Ms. Lawson will be able to be on board docs this evening, so we should be good to vote electronically.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I believe she's working on joining now. And I believe she is in, so that being the case, we can begin. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being here. The hour of 7 p.m. having arrived and passed, apologies for our tardiness. I call to order the legislative meeting for the Woodland Hills School Board for the month of October 2020. Ms. Hawthorne, will you call the roll?
Mr. Graves?
Present.
Ms. Ellickson? Present. Ms. Lawson? Here. Ms. Curry? Here. Mr. Belmont?
Here.
Ms. Scott? Here. Ms. Hodge?
Here.
Mr. Patterson?
Present.
Ms. Glasser?
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please also observe a moment of silence as we express our condolences to the family of William Keegan, a former employee of the district, who passed away on Friday, October 16th. Thank you. Okay. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes from the special legislative meeting in September?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Any questions, additions, corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, let's take the vote.
Miss Lawson,
Yes.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Motion carries unanimously. That moves us to the September agenda setting meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions, additions, corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, take the vote.
Miss Lawson, Mr. Patterson,
Yes.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Is there a motion to accept the minutes for the legislative meeting in September?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Additions, corrections, questions on those minutes? Seeing none, take the vote.
Miss Lawson. Got you.
Yes. Sorry.
Miss Seligson,
Motion carries unanimously. That moves us to 1.7, executive session. The board met in executive session immediately preceding this meeting to discuss legal, personnel, and school safety matters as permitted by law. Mr. Harris, do you have announcements?
Yes. Okay. Due to the building closure at Turtle Creek, the flu clinic that was scheduled at that school, that building on the 22nd, has been canceled and rescheduled for November 5th. The time is still between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Okay, so please go to the website with any questions. But the flu clinic that was scheduled at Turtle Creek Steam has been rescheduled. It is now on November 5th, 2020, between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Please go to our website to complete our parent-family reopening survey. As of this afternoon, we had over 600 respondents to the survey. The survey is to help the district gauge our reopening plan and to see where families fall in their interest and desire to return and how they wish to return. So once again, you can see the link on our homepage of our website. please go there and do the survey. We'll have it up until the end of the week. Okay, next announcement. Once again, the Woodland Hills Youth Climate Action Summit is on the 23rd. Once again, go to our website for details or email Ellen Conrad or Lauren Palmyra at whycas2020@gmail.com. That's whycas2020@gmail.com, or visit the district website. Okay. And last but not least, this Saturday between 2 and 4 p.m. at the intermediate school, there will be a 6 feet trick or treat Halloween event where we'll be giving out candy. It's a drive-through event where we will be giving out treats with thanks to the Woodland Hills Foundation and hugs. So come through and get scared, get some candy. Please go to our website for some information. It's on Saturday between 2 and 4 at the intermediate building.
That is the former intermediate building on Evans Street, not the current Dixon Intermediate building. Right? Just
It's Dixon Prep and intermediate.
okay. Just to clarify, it's the building that's closed. It's not currently a school.
Building that's closed.
Yeah.
So the big parking lot.
Right.
Big parking.
Okay, just for clarification. All right.
Also,
sorry.
oh, go ahead. Also, I put out a letter this morning to families and staff, letting everyone know about our reopening plan. So for the next 30 days, we will not be bringing more students back. However, as you saw the survey that was done last month and the one that's done this month, we are constantly reassessing our plan to come back. We do want to come back. However, we find that it's not sustainable with what we have to do, keeping our students and staff safe, and with the resulting quarantines that are always occurring, we're not able to keep a building open for long periods of time. As you see in the surrounding districts, they're having the same problems where they're having a number of positive COVID cases or having to quarantine small and larger groups of staff. So we are constantly trying to reopen. We're looking at data basically daily and trying to reopen. The surveys are part of our plan. Once we decide that we can reopen, we will be contacting each family individually and finding out what their status is and how they plan to proceed. We'll have the option of staying online full-time virtual as it is now, or going into a hybrid model. So those would be our two options to return right away, but we are trying to reopen. That's why you'll see surveys. That's why it's so important to do the surveys. So please go to our homepage, let us know. And then once we find that the cases are low enough that we can sustain and maintain a solid in-person instructional model, we will do that as soon as possible. So look for the next letter to go out after you do the surveys. It would be mid-March. If that would be if we were going to open in December. But please do this survey.
Mid-November.
Mid-November. So the other one out would be mid-November. So please do the survey. If you have any friends who have students who go to Woodland Hills, please have them do the survey. It's really important. That's how we get our feedback. And once again, we are trying to reopen and sustain, unlike many other districts that are opening and then having to shut down. That is extremely disruptive, and we don't want to put our families in that situation. So please do the survey, and we will be in touch. Thank you.
Okay. Any other announcements from board members? Okay. Hearing none, our student speakers were with us last week, so we'll look forward to seeing them in November again. I don't believe there are any presentations this evening. Is that correct, Mr. Harris?
No presentations.
Thank you. We do have one registered speaker, Miss Alfieri. Thank you for being here. Please give your full name and address of residence before you speak. A reminder that remarks are limited to 2 minutes, and we appreciate your taking the time to be with us this evening. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And if you have to stop me, then I'll come back and finish at the end, because 2 minutes is pretty hard. Good evening. My name is Jenna Alfieri, and I reside at 204 Oakview Avenue in the borough of Edgewood. I currently have a daughter who's a senior at the high school and a son who is in 7th grade at Dixon. I wanted to start out by expressing gratitude to the high school and middle school staff for all that you've been able to do for my children and their fellow classmates within a fully virtual start to school this year. The preparation and dedication is easily seen, and what was learned from an unexpected shutdown in March has really resulted in a much smoother delivery of online education. During the summer, I appreciated how comprehensive the district was in their approach to the beginning of the year. Although the preference for my children and my confidence in the district safety plan was to begin in a hybrid model, I was impressed that the district provided a survey to families and made the database decision to remain virtual only to start, which was the vast majority of what other families wanted. Thank you for releasing a follow-up survey this week. I hope tonight that the board can clarify if this is only for parents or guardians, or if students also have the opportunity to use their voices to express their preferences. I also hope that families use the free text section at the end of the survey to include any concerns about the social, emotional impact to their children. This topic was not included on a survey, and I believe that it's a vital piece of data that's missing and will be beneficial as current information is gathered. I think it's especially important for our high school students to be able to be involved in the possible options that could be offered as their education continues throughout the school year. I saw the official release from Mr. Harris today regarding the 4-week end of the reevaluation period, which announced that the data indicator of a 2-week trend in declining positive new cases has not been met, and therefore the district will remain virtual again for the next 30 days. After the significant resurgence of positive cases in July and subsequent reduction, despite remaining in the green phase, our county's daily numbers have only declined consecutively for 6 days between September 3rd and September 8th. Throughout the past 8 weeks, cases have been as low as 14 during our first week in school to a high of 49 last week. Although the district has mentioned that other factors will be weighed, it seems very unlikely that the primary indicator of a 2-week downward trend is attainable at a 30-day reevaluation timeframe for the foreseeable future, and quite honestly for the remainder of the 2021 school year. Just in the last week alone, the trend of the positive new cases was risen and is averaging above 100, which hasn't been seen since late July. I can go at the end now because it's longer, so I can.
Appreciate your thoughts.
Thanks. They're still going to come. I'll just wait to the end.
And we will, although we don't address questions raised during public comment during the course of the meeting, we'll certainly be in touch subsequently regarding the questions that you raised there as well.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Mr. Harris, that moves us to board matters.
Okay, ready? Okay. Board matters 2.1. Correspondence from Steve Miller Memorial Library. There's a request for a $22,000 contribution to the library. The board approved an $11,000 payment in September 2020, which was the amount included in the 2021 budget and is $11,000.
Okay. This is not an action item. It is a notice of correspondence received by the board. Is there anyone on the board who wishes to make a motion associated with this correspondence? I need some definition on the motion, Ms. Lawson. What is it that you're moving to do? Okay. So there could be a motion here to make an additional contribution to CC Mellor. The case that is made in the correspondence is that there would be a benefit to the library in terms of their marker for their state subsidy. I'll give another opportunity for anyone to make a motion regarding this. Is there anyone who wishes to do that?
I make a motion that we deny it.
Okay, is there a second?
So moved.
Is that a second, Mr. Belmont?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a motion from Mr. Patterson and a second by Mr. Belmont to deny the request by CC Miller for an additional contribution. Any discussion of that motion?
I believe if we give them this 11,000, we're going to be stuck to that price agreement. We agreed to 11, and we gave that what we agreed to give.
Okay.
I'll add that we didn't have it budgeted.
I think that's, yeah, to my mind, that's more to the point. The request came in, there was some crossing of letters in this case. There was a request that came that Mr. Gigliotti understood to be the request for the annual contribution at $11,000. That was what we worked off of last month rather, and then subsequently we received this correspondence requesting an increase from the board at CC Miller. So that is a little bit of background there for board members. As I mentioned, there is the rationale that was given to me when I spoke with the president of the board was that there is impact to the subsidies that the library receives. Excuse me. Based on the local contributions that the library gets, there's a potential for an increase in their state subsidy from the funds allocated there. So that was the reasoning that the board gave to me. There's also, before my time on the board, and I think before everybody's time on the board, there was a period where there was a larger contribution made to CC Miller, and so that was raised to me as well when we had the conversation. So I just want to make sure that those points are made to my colleagues. Any other questions or discussion?
Jamie, I'd just like to add, CC Miller Library is an amazing resource to the community. It's my home library. It's literally 3 houses up the street from my house. I'm looking out the window at it right now. And I appreciate everything that they bring to the community. I wish that we had it in our budget to be able to afford to at least help them out to some additional degree. But this year, running on such a tight budget and with so many uncertainties, it just can't happen. And I'm saddened by that, but want to acknowledge all of the assets that they provide to not just citizens of Edgewood, but Forest Hills as well, and anyone who comes through their door. So thanks, Erin and her team and the board over there.
Yes, I will note also that Ms. Pierce, the director of CC Miller, is on the call this evening, I think in regard to this matter, but also in regard to the very exciting later library-related tab that we will consider regarding library cards for students, and certainly second Ms. Scott's appreciation for the work that is done in partnership with the district and the library. So, anyone else have comment, questions?
Yeah, so to refresh, we're voting on to deny 2.1, correct?
The motion that is, so there's no action associated with 2.1 specifically. The motion that is on the floor is to deny the request that is included there. There's not an action item spelled out. So you're right, the motion is to deny the request for an additional allocation over and above what we already approved last month. That $11,000 is not in question to my mind, to my understanding at this point. So this would be to deny any additional donation to the library. Does that answer the question, Ms. Ellison?
Yes, so.
Okay.
I mean, Jamie, this is John. Can I add something?
Certainly.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is this. Probably what's best is that to deny this, I wouldn't do that. If the board takes no action, you're not giving them the money. You can only give them the money if you authorize it. So, I mean, just to maybe ease any confusion on this, my suggestion would be just going to item 2.2, and and just leave it alone, because it seems to be a little bit confusion about this motion to deny.
Okay, so we'll take no action on the correspondence then. What I can suggest to the board is that I will reply to the correspondence with your approval, and explain the position of the board that has been expressed so far. So at this point, John, there is a motion on the floor. However, should we table that motion?
You can, or if the maker wishes to withdraw that motion.
Okay. Mr. Patterson, are you interested in withdrawing?
Yes, I'll withdraw the motion.
Okay.
Second.
Motion's withdrawn. We'll take no action on this. I will draft a reply unless there's an objection to that action. Okay. Hearing none, let's move on to 2.2.
Okay, board matters 2.2, first and final reading of policy 113.4, behavior support.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. This is a first and final reading. Mr. Harris, can we have a little bit of background on why we're doing this as a first and final?
Because of the need to have this approved for other areas that we have to apply for. And also because of the nature of this technique, we would like to get it through as quick as possible. Basically, it's a technique where the student is held face down and in a prone position on the floor.
And this policy would prohibit that, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, very good. Other questions from board members? Okay, hearing none, let's take the vote.
Ms. Lawson,
Motion carries unanimously. 2.3.
Board matters 2.3, first and final reading of revised policy 204, attendance. The change in this is the definition of.
1 minute. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Mr. Harris.
Okay, the change in this would be the definition of compulsory school age, which would be the change from 8 years to 6 years and from 17 to 18 years.
Okay. Any questions on this change? This is another related to the grant, Mr. Harris?
Yes. Yes.
Other questions? Okay, hearing none, let's take the vote. Motion carries unanimously. 2.4.
Okay, board matters 2.4, third and final reading of policy 103, volume 4, discrimination, title 9, sexual harassment affecting students.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions on this policy update? I have one question, Mr. Harris. What are we required to do in terms of notifying students and staff that these policies have been changed? Are there requirements for that?
I don't know that answer. We've never notified anyone unless it was something that was specific to our daily course of work. This is basically an investigation
Yeah, I was just wondering if there was to be any kind of notification that there is a new policy and practice in place regarding this. I think it would, let me say it this way. I think it behooves us to make staff and students aware that these new procedures are in place and, who they make reports to and things of that nature. So I would strongly suggest that we take that action.
We really can do that for all new policies that are adopted, not just this one.
That would be great. That would be great.
We've never done that. That's a good idea. We've never done that really.
Okay. This is a big one with regard to how incidents of concern are reported. I think that's pretty important. But I agree, we should do that for all policies. Point well taken.
There are a number of policies that are impacted by this. That's why there's so many new policies on. They're impacted by the Title IX changes.
Okay. Anyone else have questions? All right. Hearing none, let's take the vote. Motion carries unanimously. 2.5.
Board Matters 2.5, third and final reading of Policy 104, Volume 4, Discrimination, Title IX, Sexual Harassment Affecting Employees.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion on this? Okay. Hearing none, let's take the vote.
Ms. Seligson.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. 2.6.
Board Matters 2.6, third and final reading of Policy 317.1, Volume 4, Educator Misconduct.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Belmont. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion? Is there a brief summary of this, Mr. Harris, with the purpose?
This goes back to the Title IX new policy, updated policies, and it aligns itself with that. It just takes, basically, it adds a section to address circumstances when allegations underlying a report of educator misconduct include conduct that appears to align itself with the Title IX.
Okay.
So once again, this is one of the new policies that, because of the Title IX changes, has updated the language to align itself.
Okay. Questions? Okay. Hearing none, take the vote.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Motion carries unanimously. 2.7.
Board Matters 2.7, third and final reading of Policy 335, Volume 2, Family Medical Leaves.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion on this? This is required under the coronavirus relief.
Yes, this is the policy that we follow when an employee has to take off for a corona-related situation, or they're not pulling from their sick or personal time.
Okay. Questions on that? Hearing none, take the vote.
Ms. Lawson?
Motion carries unanimously. 2.8.
Board Matters 2.8, first reading of revised policy 222, volume 1, tobacco and vaping products.
Brief summary of this one.
This basically extends the tobacco product definition to vaping products, like, well, can't say any brands, I guess. So the electronic cigarettes and things like that. So it expands as they are tobacco type products.
Okay. No vote on this tonight. Anyone have questions? Okay. Hearing none. 2.9.
Board Matters 2.9, first reading of revised policy 247, hazing.
Brief description of that, please.
Basically, it's once again Title IX. It contains a section addressing the joint investigative requirements that's been updated for consistent terminology for Title IX. So it's basically aligns the language of what's in the Title IX law.
Okay. All right. Does anyone have questions on that? Again, no vote. Okay. Hearing none. 2.10.
Board Matters 2.10, first reading of revised policy 249, bullying, cyberbullying.
Brief description of that one as well.
Once again, it's Title IX. It realigns or aligns the language for how it's to be investigated to what the Title IX laws are.
Okay. Any questions on that? Okay. Hearing none. 2.11.
Board Matters 2.11, first reading of revised policy 252, dating violence.
Okay. Brief description of that.
Once again, it's about how the incident is investigated under the Title IX sexual harassment policy.
Okay. Questions on that? Okay. Hearing none. 2.12.
First reading of revised policy 323, volume 1, tobacco and vaping products for employees. Once again, this goes back to adding electronic devices under the tobacco rule.
Okay. Does anyone have questions on that? I think I said this last week too, but I would. There is an election option in here to for the board to prohibit the use of tobacco and vaping products while a staff member is responsible for students on off-site activities. My preference would be that we include that in the policy that we adopt. So if we could take that election, I would appreciate it. At least I support that. Let me say it this way. I support that change and adoption in the policy as well. So we can talk about this at policy committee as well as in this moment if anyone has questions. Okay. Hearing none. 2.13.
And finally, Board Matters 2.13, first reading of revised policy 333, volume 4 for professional development, which covers how professional development is done, when it's done, and supporting of employees.
Okay. Questions on that? Okay. Hearing none. 2.14.
2.14, Board Matters, first reading of revised policy 626, federal fiscal compliance.
Summary of this one, please.
Basically, this goes back to the COVID response funding. It's how revise the language regarding payment of staff with federal funds in emergency situations in accordance with applicable law, which goes back to the enclosure of emergency situations with COVID money.
Okay. Questions on that? Okay. Hearing none. 2.15.
Okay, Board Matters 2.15, first reading of revised policy 707, volume 1, use of school facilities.
Okay.
And this is just updating of some language, which rolls in the new language of making vaping products, e-cigarettes into the prohibited areas of use on school property.
Okay. Again, I'll highlight for my colleagues that there are some elections for us to talk about with regard to this policy, so we can talk about that at some point in the future. We have a couple of months on this one yet, and also committees coming up. So, any questions? Okay, hearing none. 2.16.
Okay, Board Matters 2.16, first reading of revised policy 709, volume 4, building security. This one here just updates some language. This just basically opens up some language like how the updates usually do. Talks about school safety and school coordinator, district administrators, district staff, adds some folks to the delegation of responsibility and the guidelines.
Okay. Questions? Hearing none. 2.17.
Okay, Board Matters 2.17, first reading of revised policy 824, volume 4, maintaining professional adult student boundaries.
Okay. Summary of the changes here.
Once again, this aligns itself with the Title IX selection relating to reporting and investigating inappropriate suspicious conduct. It's basically how it aligns itself with the Title IX and how it has to be reported and investigated.
Okay. Questions? Okay. Hearing none. 2.18.
Okay, Board Matters 2.18, we seek approval of the delinquent earned income tax collector contract for the tax period 2011 and prior with PA Municipal Service Company, PAMS. Solicitor has reviewed and approved.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion on this? Okay. I have one question, potentially from Mr. Gigliotti. Can you talk about the compensation structure for PAMs in this? We don't pay them directly, is that correct? They receive fees and service costs and interest?
Yes, as with delinquent tax collecting contracts such as this, they collect their fee as part of, they collect their commission on top. We don't pay them a commission, they collect it. We receive our tax, our interest, and any penalty.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever we're entitled to, based on the invoice we sent out, face, penalty, interest, that's what we receive. The delinquent taxpayer is responsible for paying the collection fee.
Okay. Other questions? Okay. Hearing none, let's take the vote.
Yes.
Miss Ellickson?
Yes. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, I heard you. Thank you.
Motion carried unanimously. That brings us to 2.19.
Board Matters 2.19, we seek approval of a $2,000 donation from the Dollar General Literacy Foundation.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Curry, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion on this? Hearing none, take a moment to congratulate Mr. McGuire once again on these funds. Thank you for the work, and we're looking forward to the outcome. Hearing no other questions, I'll take the vote. Motion carries unanimously. That moves us to 2.20.
Board matters 2.20. We seek to ratify PSBA's BSA discussion and equity training with the Woodland Hills School District Board of Directors at a cost of $800.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion on this? Okay. Hearing none. Thank everybody who participated in the training last week, including administrators. Appreciate everybody taking another evening out of their schedules to think a little bit about the long-term things for the district. So thank you for that. Looking forward to positive results. If there's no other comment, Ms. Hawthorne will take the vote.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. That moves us to section 3, curriculum 3.1.
All right, curriculum 3.1. We seek permission to renew the Imagine Math Think Through Math contract for the 2020-2021 school year at a contract amount of $20,500 from General Fund 10.
There a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion on this?
Can we just have a little bit of background on it, please?
Mr. Wilson, is that something you can provide?
Absolutely. So the Think Through Math program, the Imagine Math program, has been actually around in the district for the last 6 years. Norm Catalano was the first curriculum director to recommend it, and our 6th through 12th grade math teachers use it as a supplement to their curriculum. It's fully digital, and it maps to the particular standards and objectives that educators want scholars to focus on. I will say that we are, the reason the request is broken down into both the license and professional development is that we are focused on ensuring that if we're spending this much money on a supplemental resource, that it's being used well. And I don't think that it's been used to its maximum potential for the last 2 years. And so we are investing in additional professional development so that on November 3rd, our educators in 6th through 12th grade math can receive an additional 3 hours of PD on using this tool as an engagement strategy. And if it's still not used to its best extent next year, then we won't renew. But it is a useful tool as long as we use it correctly.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Questions on this one? Okay.
I have a question, probably for Mr. Gigliotti. Since this is a renewal, I imagine this was an expense that we had already budgeted for when we put together this year's budget, correct?
Yes, these funds are budgeted.
Great, thank you.
Other questions? Okay, hearing none, let's take the vote.
Ms. Lawson?
Motion carries unanimously. That moves us to 3.2.
Curriculum 3.2, we seek permission to accept a $1 million grant from the PA Department of Community and Economic Development.
A lot of feedback.
Sorry? Can't hear you.
I'm getting a lot of feedback. Is that mine?
Now I can
No,
hear
I
you.
hear it too.
Okay. All right.
I was hearing it too.
Okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr.
Second.
Second by Ms. Hodge. I don't know where that was coming from. It's still there a little bit. Okay, sorry. Question to discussion on this item?
Can Eddie explain to everybody why these particular areas were selected?
Sure, Mr. Wilson.
Absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity, Mr. Belmont. So we're extremely excited in the district to use these funds to completely overhaul and revamp our high school science curricula. Anybody with a student in high school right now knows that many of our textbooks have copyrights of 20 or more years old, and our slides and our labs are many of them older than the students in the classes. And so we're able to use this $1 million to completely rebuild our high school science curricula from regular and AP biology to anatomy, physiology, physics, chemistry, all of our sciences. And then we're also going to use part of this grant to implement for the first time in more than a decade a kindergarten through fifth grade social studies curriculum. And it's a fully well-rounded curriculum from McGraw-Hill that incorporates literacy and writing components, as well as social justice, and it collaborates well with our reading structure so that we're able to actually build in current events and social studies in an official and formal way for the first time in more than a decade. And then the additional funds left in the $1 million we will use to ensure that our scholars have Wi-Fi hotspots and any additional Chromebooks to replace any that need to be given to students entering the district, or any of our technology that gets damaged in any way, as well as document cameras for teachers and other tech that they need to teach virtually and when students come back in a Google Classroom setting.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other questions? I just want to say thank you to Mr. Wilson and his team for putting this application together and for finding these exciting ways to use the funds. It'll be a great improvement throughout the district. So thank you for that. And to everyone who worked on the application, much appreciated.
Thank you.
Okay. No, if there are no other comments or questions, we will take the vote.
Ms. Lawson?
Motion carries unanimously. 3.3.
Curriculum 3.3, we seek permission to purchase new high school science curricula at a cost of up to $589,464 using the DCED grant.
Is there a motion?
I'll move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion on this? item? Okay. Hearing none, we'll take the vote. Motion carries unanimously. 3.4.
Curriculum 3.4, we seek permission to purchase a new K-5 social studies curriculum at a cost of up to $104,040.15 using the DCED grant.
There a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion? Okay. Hearing none, let's take a vote.
Thank you.
Thanks. Wow. Yes.
I haven't. Ms. Hawthorne, I have not yet received a voting window.
Yes, I see that everyone is spinning. So if you all want to tell me, I can click it for you. Mr. Graves?
Yes.
Ms. Seligson?
Yes.
Ms. Lawson?
Yes.
Ms. Curry?
Yes.
Mr. Belmont's recorded. Ms. Scott?
Yes.
Ms. Hodge?
Yes.
Mr. Patterson?
Yes.
Ms. Glasser?
Yes. Motion carries unanimously. That moves us to 3.5.
Curriculum 3.5, we seek permission. Are you muted? Because I'm being picked up here. Okay. 3.5 curriculum. We seek permission to purchase the McGraw-Hill Corrective Reading Program for Dixon Intermediate STEAM Academy using ESSER funds at a cost of $30,988.16.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion on this?
Just the highlight appears is to close the learning gaps and improvement to toward that end. So it sounds exciting.
Other questions? Okay. Hearing none, take the vote.
Mr. Belmont?
Yeah, I clicked on it, Teresa, but it's not going. It just left.
Motion carries unanimously. 3.
Okay. Curriculum 3.6, we seek permission to partner with Mr. Dwight Jones for ongoing monthly professional development with the Dixon staff.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion?
Can we have a brief explanation as to what this is going to do?
Absolutely, Mr. Belmont. It's ironic that you asked for the explanation, and that you were the person that gave us the idea. Dr. Pert, our new middle school principal, brought Mr. Jones in to give the staff some professional development on culturally responsive pedagogy at the beginning of the year, and the staff received it very well. It was a great professional development, and then in talking with the board, Mr. Belmont, you recommended actually or asked whether or not there'd be any follow-up throughout the year, which gave Dr. Pert the idea that she would like to bring Mr. Jones back at least once a month to follow up with the staff and to create some action plans with them around culturally relevant pedagogy. So that's what she's doing and what we'd like to do for Dixon Middle School.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Other questions? Okay, hearing none, let's take the vote. Motion carries unanimously. That moves us to 3.7.
Curriculum 3.7, we seek permission to enter into the attached MOU, Memorandum of Understanding with Braddock Carnegie Library, C.C. Miller Memorial Library, and Carnegie Free Library of Swissvale. Solicitor has reviewed and approved.
There a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Bell, seconded by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion on this?
Does anybody want to talk about this a little bit?
Mr. Wilson?
Yeah, I'd be more than happy to speak to this. Although Mr. McGuire, Ms. Pierce, and a few of our other folks on the call could speak to it even better than I can. One of the visions that the folks that I just named have had for a while is to ensure that all of our scholars in the district could have access to Allegheny County library cards. And this MOU will give us the ability to do that. We'll share some directory information and then get every single scholar a library card. Like I said, it's been in the works now for almost a decade and was one of the first mantles that I took up when I came on. And Mr. Harris and I are passionate about making it happen.
And Eddie, does any other school district in Allegheny County have a card for every child?
It's a great question, Mr. Belmont. We will be the first district in Allegheny County to provide a library card for every scholar in the district.
Other questions?
Thanks to Mr. McGuire also for all his efforts on this.
And I'll note again that Ms. Pierce and Dr. Coluccio are on the call. Thanks to them and to the team at the Braddock Library as well for the work that went into this. It's very exciting, and I can tell you I'm also aware that the County Library Association is talking about this with their constituents as well. So this is a big deal, and we should be proud of this work. So thank you to everybody who worked on it, and look forward to even more partnerships with our libraries as we go forward. So thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay, take the vote. Motion carries unanimously. That moves us to section 4, special education 4.1.
Special education 4.1, we seek approval to enter into contract with Woodland Family Services for the supports of a certified school psychologist at $95 per day, not to exceed $20,000 through the duration of the 2020-2021 school year.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Question or discussion on this item? Okay. Hearing none, we'll take the vote.
We are going to get them back.
That moves us to section 5, people personnel 5.1.
Pupil Personnel 5.1, we seek approval to ratify the agreement between Vitamin C Healing and the Woodland Hills School District.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion?
Yes, I would like to know what is the vitamin C healing, and what's the partnership? Can we talk about that?
Yes, the Vitamin C Healing is the name of the presenter's organization. The presenter for the training is a licensed social worker that has her own business. So that's the name of the organization. She provided a two-part training for our elementary staff that focused on trauma strategies for working with students experiencing trauma, as well as looking at secondary trauma and self-care for staff. That's going to be the second part of this training that the staff will receive. And we're also looking at providing the same training for the secondary staff as well.
Ms. Golden, was this the presenter we heard from at committees this month?
Yes.
Okay. Other questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll take a vote. Motion carries unanimously. That moves us to section 6, personnel 6.1.
Okay, Personnel 6.1, we seek approval of Section B, authorization of retirement resignations. Section C, authorization to hire professional staff. Section D, authorization to hire non-professional staff. Section E, authorization for transfers. Section F, authorization for EDR mentor actions. Section G, authorization for miscellaneous.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions would likely require that we go into executive session. Any need for that? Hearing none, let's take the vote.
Can I get my...
Motion carries unanimously. That moves us to 6.2.
Personnel 6.2, we seek approval of the MOU, Memo of Understanding, between Woodland Hills School District and Woodland Hills Educational Support Professionals Association.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Any question or discussion? Okay, hearing none, let's take the vote.
Ms. Scott?
Sorry about that. I thought I clicked on it and it did not click.
Motion carries unanimously. That moves us to section 7, technology 7.1.
Technology 7.1, we seek permission to purchase a video wall display system for our newly remodeled LGI room at the high school. Cost is $24,500. Funds to come from Fund 39.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Question or discussion? Hearing none, take the vote.
Upstairs.
Motion carries unanimously. 7.2.
Technology 7.2, we seek permission to purchase 60 Cisco telephones, licenses, voice mailboxes, and 2 replacement servers from Presidio Services, $60,601.50. Co-Stars number 0066-131, and Amazon $5,220 from PEPPM from Fund 39.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion on this?
Can we get an explanation as to the advantages of this?
Mr. Muir?
Sure. We need to have this upgrade done in order to install more phones. By being able to install these additional phones, we'll be able to complete the high school project, having a phone in every classroom in the high school and as well as in the entire school district. This equipment is 5 years old, and we were informed that some of this equipment is end of life and it won't be supported. By making this purchase, this will ensure that we can continue on with another 5 years of using the same system.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Other questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll take the vote. Motion carries unanimously. That moves us to section 10, buildings and grounds. We acted on 10.1 last week, so we are on 10.2.
Okay, buildings and grounds 10.2, we seek ratification of the proposal from Gray Waste totaling $10,000 for asbestos removal in phase 4 and phase 7 areas of the high school from Capital Projects Fund 39.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Could I motion, if this is not too much, since all these were proposals or change orders, purchase orders rather, 10.2 through, 10.16, with the exception of, I think, 10.8, it's a little different. Can we lump those together?
Certainly. I will entertain a motion to consolidate those votes. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Okay. Moved by Ms. Seligson, second by Mr. Belmont to consolidate 10.2 through 10.16 with the exception of 10.8 into one vote. Is there anyone who objects to that? Okay. Hearing no objection, I don't believe we need to take a formal vote on that. Mr. Vogel, correct me if I'm wrong.
You don't have to. Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay, so the motion on the floor is to consider 10.2, 10.3, 10.4, 10.5, 10.6, 10.7, 10.9, 10.10, 10.11, 10.12, 10.13, 10.14, 10.15, and 10.16. Any questions on any of those tabs?
Just so the public knows, it's a lot of furniture stuff, some change orders. And I thank you, Sade, for your idea.
Thank you.
Okay, any additional questions or discussion? Okay, hearing none. Ms. Hawthorne, take the vote.
Mr. Graves?
Yes.
Miss Seligson,
Yes.
Miss Scott,
Yes.
Miss Lawson,
Yes.
Miss Curry,
Yes.
Miss Hodge,
Yes.
Mr. Patterson,
Yes.
Mr. Belmont,
Yes.
Miss Glasser.
Yes. That will move us to 10.8.
8.
10.8. Okay. Buildings and Grounds 10.8. We seek permission to approve Mr. Willett to create a mural for Turtle Creek Academy's library at no cost to the district.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion on this?
Mr. Harris, how did this come to be?
Mr. Willett's a parent in the district who has put together other murals, and working with Dr. Livingston, would like to do a mural on one of the walls.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other
I believe there is some student input, and possibly could see how it's sketched out and drawn if available.
That would be great. Any other questions? Okay. Hearing none, we'll take the vote. Motion carries unanimously. That moves us to section 12, library 12.1.
Before we move to 12.1, can I ask for an indulgence of the chair and change my vote on 4.1 to yes?
Thank you, Ms. Lawson. I will certainly accept that. Is there any objection from anyone on the board to changing Ms. Lawson's vote on 4.1? Okay. Hearing no objection, Ms. Hawthorne, please record that vote as unanimous, 9 to none as well.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Lawson. Okay, now on to 12.1.
Okay, library 12.1. We seek approval of the 2020 PA plan for use of state aid, Carnegie Freedom Switzdale.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion?
Jane would just like to thank you for all of your hard work on this project.
Thank you, Mr. Belmont. This is actually not anything that I have a whole lot to do with. This is regarding the annual state aid for the library and the plan for how those funds will be used.
Well, this is correct, but when I see Swissville Library, I think of you because I know all the other stuff you're doing on it.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you for pointing that out. However, certainly Dr. Coluccio is bearing the load there, and we'd be remiss if we didn't acknowledge her on that. So thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Hearing none, we will take the vote. Motion carries unanimously. 12.2.
Library 12.2. We seek approval of the Carnegie Free Library Board resolution for waiver of standards.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion? Hearing none. I also want to acknowledge that Ms. Scott and Mr. Wilson are also working quite hard on the library matters. So I'd be remiss if I did not do that as well. Okay, hearing no other questions, take the vote. Motion carries unanimously. Section 13, legal matters, 13.1.
Legal matters 13.1. We seek approval of the Jefferson Heights Road, Wilkins Township real estate purchase and sale agreement for $108,000 with with J. Michael Ruffel Jr.
Is there a motion?
Yeah, if I could add something, Jamie, this is the formal agreement. We did agree a couple months ago to the letter of intent, but we needed to make this a formal agreement as well. So,
Thank you, Mr. Vogel. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, take the vote.
Ms. Scott? Thank you.
Motion carries unanimously. 13.2.
Legal matters 13.2. We seek approval to accept the settlement agreement between the Woodland Hills School District and Dr. Charles P. Koss II.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll take the vote. Motion carries by a vote of 8-1. That moves us to section 14, school finance 14.1.
School finance 14.1. We seek ratification of the bill list for invoices paid after the September 16th, 2020 legislative meeting.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions on the ratification list? Hearing none, we'll take the vote. Motion carries unanimously. 14.2.
School finance 14.2. We seek approval of the October 2020 bill list.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion on the bill list? Hearing none, take the vote. Motion carries unanimously. 14.3.
School finance 14.3. We seek the acceptance of the September 2020 fund financial reports and student activity reports for informational purposes.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'll take the vote. Motion carries unanimously. 14.4.
School finance 14.4. We seek approval of the investment reports for September 2020.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion? Hearing none, take the vote.
Miss Lawson?
Motion carries unanimously. That moves us to 14.5.
14.5, we seek approval of the budgetary transfers for October 2020.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion here? One note, Mr. Gigliotti, I believe that the total on the sheet is incorrect. There are two transfers for $3,500 and one for $1,300. And
you're correct. We'll get that corrected on the for the display moving forward.
Thank you.
But it should be $8,300. Yeah.
Thank you. Other questions? Okay. Hearing none, we'll take the vote.
Miss Lawson?
Yes, it won't. My button won't press. I'm sorry.
Motion carries unanimously. That moves us to section 15, Superintendent. As we considered 15.1, 15.2, and 15.3 last week, we are on 15.4. Mr. Harris.
Superintendent 15.4, we seek approval of the emergency instructional time template, section 520.1.
There a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions on this template? Hearing none, we'll take the vote. Motion carries unanimously. 15.5.
Okay, Superintendent 15.5, we seek permission to enter into agreement with the AIU3 to manage the school-based access program for the Woodland Hill School District at a cost of $17,500. Solicitor has reviewed and approved.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Belmont, second by Ms. Hodge. Questions or discussion?
If Mr. Gigliotti could explain to the folks the advantage to this. He mentioned this at another time, and I thought it'd be worth repeating.
This will help us, with continuity in our access billing. We're still going to be doing things in-house, the majority of it, but there are some technical aspects that the IU can guide us on and perform for us that would be a lot better in their hands at this time. So that's basically what this would allow us to do, is to continue to invoice and track the expenditures and have a more knowledgeable,
we don't want to leave
be able to draw on.
What this does is it allows us to have a greater continuity as other districts have, and we would not leave any money on the table that's available to us under this program.
Thank you.
Any questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll take the vote.
Mr. Graves?
Motion carries unanimously. That moves us to old business. Does anyone have old business? Any new business? We covered reports last week. No need to revisit those. So we move to public comment. If you wish to address the board at this time, please use the raise hand function in your Zoom. Again, comments are limited to 2 minutes. We ask that name and address are provided, and comments limited to 2 minutes, name and address, and please do share your thoughts. We're glad to have you here. Ms. Alfieri, thank you very much.
You're welcome. So I'll keep it to 2 minutes, and I think I'll just send what I wrote to board members because it's going to be longer than that. But just in general, I hear Mr. Harris, I hear everybody saying that, of course, the goal is to get kids back at some capacity when it is safe to do that. And I'm very, very much for that. But what I'm looking at now, and I do this for part of my work, that the indicator that we're using is unattainable. And I really believe that you're not going to see a 2-week decreasing trend of numbers, most likely even until maybe May or June. And so I think that for families that are trying to balance everything at home between having kids home, especially not only younger kids, but honestly, I don't like the idea if I can't flex my work schedule of having my children home all day and they're older. Just in general, that's it's been really difficult for families. So I think that if this is the indicator that we're using and we don't look at potential other ways, it would be helpful for families to know this. When I look at how many districts are in Allegheny County, I don't know the exact, but I'm guessing it's 35 or more. And then there's also public and charter schools. At this point, everyone is either back and has attempted or has a plan. I think people, we're looking at Pittsburgh Public Schools to open on the 9th. I'm not sure that they will, given that the numbers have risen. But I'm hoping that the district and the board is looking to other districts to see how are they able to do it. They've obviously had positive cases that they've had to respond to. That's realistic. It's not going away. But they're using the same data as us. As much as I believe that that's true, maybe they're not, but we're all in the same county. So I would certainly hope that the board would consider looking at some other indicators to see what other people are doing. And then the other part is also first letting us know, are there teachers that would be in the building if that's even an option? Just like I feel like families should have the option to look at when we're ready to do that. I certainly would want to make sure that teachers were only there if they were feeling comfortable and feeling safe. And so just being able to share and be transparent if there are other variables. Does it have to do with not having enough staff that are comfortable? are the buildings ready? Have things like transportation, like the great plan that was developed, has any of that been kind of practiced or mocked? Mock scenarios, things like that. So thank you. I appreciate it. And I certainly hope that my questions don't come across that I don't think that the virus has a risk. I understand that. But when we're looking at success for kids, this is suboptimal for the vast majority of kids. And at this point, we're going on 7 months. And as somebody that works in behavioral health in the community, there are significant impacts all over that we might not be seeing in the schools. The kids are really, really affected. So certainly if we look at all of the other districts, maybe we can learn something. Maybe they're all being careless, but I don't think that that is the case now. There may be some other options that we could at least consider, looking into maybe December or January. So I just ask that you consider that. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Alfieri. Certainly feel free to send your additional comments to the board.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the board at this time? Again, please use the raise hand function. Okay. Seeing no additional hands raised, Mr. Harris, section 20.
All right, section 20, adjournment 20.1. We seek approval to adjourn the October 21, 2020 legislative meeting.
Is there a motion?
So moved. So moved.
Ms. Ellison, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Scott, I believe. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Hearing none, thank you all very much. Committee meetings happen the first week of November. We will see you on the 3rd and 4th, and then again following that, the next 2 weeks for the agenda and legislative meetings. Thanks all.
Bye.
Have a good night.